Welcome to the Maura Sweeney Podcast. Maura is an international speaker and the trademark ambassador of happiness with a passion for personal responsibility. She weaves insightful questions with personal stories to challenge your mindsets and empower your best and happiest self from the inside out. Here's Maura with today's podcast for you.
Have you been misunderstood? Well, if you're on a path to living happy from the inside out, today's podcast is for you. Misunderstood. All of us, at one point or another, probably many times in life, have been misunderstood. We have also been in the place of misunderstanding other people too. And that's why today's podcast is so important. Misunderstandings. Anyone who has ever spent any time listening to my podcasts, reading my blogs, reading my books, or if you've ever heard me speak on the radio or in public, you will know that I have a common theme to all I do, and that is to uplift and to unite the human race rather than to contribute to the further divides and the further disempowerment that so many people suffer from in not understanding one another and not looking for commonality. When we do things like that, we end up really unhappy. So why not focus on understanding other people as much as we would like to be understood by other people? Let me get started first with the very simple dictionary meanings for the word misunderstood. The first definition is incorrectly understood or incorrectly interpreted. Does that sound familiar? You may say something, but the people on the other side are interpreting it incorrectly or understanding it incorrectly, certainly not having the meaning that you intended. How about this as the second dictionary meaning? Misunderstood is not appreciated or not given sympathetic understanding. Ooh, not appreciated, not given sympathetic understanding. And they use as the example here, the misunderstood child. And how many of us have been misunderstood children or have had a child of our own that was misunderstood? So why is this so important today? If we want to really come to terms with each other, if we want to almost work backwards in time through the human race and get to those places where we can find commonality, where we can actually speak and be understood or listen to another and be understood. Wow, that is a place of peace. It's a place of rest. It's a place of, I would say, illumination, and definitely a place where we feel freer and happier to express who and what we are. I'm reminded today of a couple of examples where I have been misunderstood, and maybe more in line with that, I want to be able to share how I related in each one of those cases. One day I was asked by a friend, "Are you for real?" Now, it sounds that way. Are you for real? And when I first heard the question, I'm like, wow, you've known me a long time. What do you mean, am I for real? And I remember feeling almost like, wait a minute, are you saying I'm fake? Well, do you know that woman, when I questioned her further, this is what she was asking. She was asking if I was for real because she couldn't get over the fact that my interest in her daughter was as sincere as my interest was in my own daughter. And here's why she thought that she had to question me. Because in her mind, every mother would put their child first and put everyone else's child second. But the fact that I was raising my interest in her daughter to the same level as I would have in my own daughter's well-being or future or whatever it might be, she looked at it as being quote-unquote unreal. And I want to say that belief that she held was from her own experience because she had a lot of other, let's say, relationships where people were putting themselves above her. And she actually had to test me out to say, are you for real? a good note to self is that it's very good when someone does ask you a question or make a statement to ask them to further explain exactly what it is that they mean. And beyond it, to say, can you give me some examples so that I can better understand where you're coming from? Here's another example I got about being misunderstood. It was with another woman. And she said to me one day, "You are not even human." Now, we were having a telephone conversation. And in this phone conversation, I think she spent about 20 minutes, could have been longer, I don't remember, basically telling me every offense that she had against me, everything in particular that she felt was wrong with me, and everything I needed to do to change, to behave, and to be acceptable to her as a friend. So I sat there quietly, and I want to say that the conversation was designed so that she was in the superior position and I was like the little child listening. So I listened, and I could hear anger, I could hear all kinds of emotions coming out of her. And I just listened and I took note and I said, mm-hmm. And so she continued, and she was clearly looking for an argument. And this, by the way, was a woman whose own family was accustomed to arguing. So she argued with all of her siblings. But she grew up in a family where her parents argued all the time. And she had brought that same process into her current family environment. Everything that ever got emotional would turn into an argument and a blaming and a speaking words that would get so out of control and so loud and eventually, well, let's say, eventuate in feelings of remorse. So anyway, I listened, as I said, maybe 20 minutes or so, and she says to me, "You're not even human." And she said, "Don't you even want to argue?" And I remember saying, "You know what?" I said, "I have failed to grow wings and fly. I can't get on top of water and walk across it." I said, "So I'm listening to everything you're sharing." And I said, "I will give all of it my time, my reflection." And I said, "If there's something or anything of value that you're telling me," I said, "I'll definitely let you know." I said, "And actually, I'd be curious to know if there are some things in my personality that do need some adjustment." Well, I guess at one level it unnerved this person because this individual was always used to arguing. But in this place, I gave her opportunity to speak her piece. And surprisingly, it was one of the last times she ever reached out to me. And at that point, she decided she just plain old didn't like me. I reached out to her a couple of more times, but it was always with her anger on the other side. Misunderstandings. They go on and on and on. I know of people who have held on to misunderstandings, and somewhere in there they hold a grievance. Sometimes it goes with people that are dead. Sometimes it goes to people they never knew personally. But in every one of those cases, what goes along with it is I want to say a gray area, a darkness, a covering over, a fearfulness of not fully understanding someone else. Or let's say this, not giving them the opportunity or the grace to be understood or interpreted through another lens. Now, I don't mean to get too out there for you, but I want you to think about this. Who have you ever misunderstood? Is there a way that you can ever say to them, "You know, I think I might have misunderstood you. Would you like to share a little bit more about your feelings or your understandings and why you have taken a position with me as you have?" The other side of things is this. If you feel someone has wronged you or someone said something to you that you don't like, can you ever go back to that person and say, "You know something, this has always concerned me. I need to know exactly what you meant by that. Can you share with me exactly where your feelings came from, where your interpretation came from?" You know, sometimes we need to be bigger and maybe more courageous within our own bodies, within our own natures, to extend ourselves to other people, but also to give people an opportunity to share. we just might find that the misunderstanding was all that was about, that it never really had to do with the truth. And when we do, not only do we feel better, happier, freer within ourselves, but we also cause a lot of the clouds that misinterpret within our general psyche and our general social environment to start to dissipate and go away. If you've ever wondered why you don't have enough hope on the inside of you, why the sun doesn't shine brightly enough, think about the various ways that you can either extend yourself to others in allowing them to be understood, or to give other people an opportunity to speak more to you and to be better understood. And in so doing, find that your day and the sunshine of your light gets a little bit brighter. Well, that's been my thought for today. I do have two other things to add. About 2 weeks ago, I believe it was October 2nd of 2018, I wrote a blog. The blog was about being misunderstood as well. I entitled it Sex, Guilt, and Our Universal Need for Due Process. It was a time that I was in high school and someone accused me or started spreading around a rumor that I had sex with an exchange student. I want you to go there and read it. It's at moraforyou.com. Sex, Guilt, and Our Universal Need for Due Process. And I also would love to hear from you. If you've enjoyed or benefited from these podcasts, I hope that you will subscribe, write a testimonial for me, and also share me with other people who really are looking for nuggets of ways that they too can live happier, freer, and more authentically from the inside out. This has been Maura with More For You.
For more insights on living happy from the inside out, subscribe to this podcast. To learn more about Maura, visit her moraforyou.com website, where you'll find videos, blogs, books, and the Foundations of Happiness self-study e-course. Maura, 4, letter U.com, where Maura is always for you.